Good morning, Johnny boy.
How are you? It's
Oh man, I got on the call. I'm blessed.
awesome. Yeah, you're moving right along. Soon you'll be using silverware.
Expect me to shove an apple through the computer. I can't do it yet.
That was an old commercial at I think it was Del Taco. They talked about people evolving and soon they'd be using utensils. That's classic. All right. Well, I got our recording going. It is July 2nd here, almost my favorite time of the year, 4th of July, where we get to go put fire in the sky, which any of you that know me very well know that's kind of my favorite thing to do. But anyway, a lot of really cool stuff going on. Um, I always like to point out marketing campaigns that I see that are absolutely phenomenal. And there was one that just came out, hit my inbox this morning. And it was from one of our favorite people, Frank Kern. And I gotta tell you, he sends so much email out, and I've bought on so many of his offers over the years that I've kind of had the blinders on. You know how there's banner blindness when you see something over and over and over and you stop paying attention to it. Well, he was kind of in that bucket for me, just because the amount of emails that he sends. But this one grabbed my attention. And I click through, and his email copy is really compelling. It's really like I know he's not talking to me directly. I mean, I get it. But the way he writes his copy, you certainly feel that way. It's very personalized, and it just has this feeling that you know him and he's talking directly to you. And one thing that was interesting about this offer, he was making what he calls his ethical bribe. And you don't know what it is till you watch the video. But his ethical bribe was he was going to go in and set up your Facebook ads account, have his team actually create your first ad campaign. And he shows a bunch of results, from ones that they have recently done for people. And, that's a pretty compelling offer to have Frank Kern's team go into your Facebook ad account and set it up for you and run the first test. And, that's a pretty big promise. That's a very appealing thing. And if any of you don't know who that is, Frank Kern, he's like one of the original online marketers that did the $1 Million Day. There was several of them that, they were all trying to see who could do the $1 Million Day first. And he didn't just do the $1 Million Day. He did a $2 million launch and closed the card out in 20 minutes. So he's kind of an overachiever. So anyway, I love to watch his campaigns. And the one that I got this morning, it enticed you to watch this email to see how you could get his team to do this for you. And when you click it, you go to a web page, it's a landing page, the video starts, and down below there's no button to click. So there is no actionable offer. You have to watch the video. And he actually put a timer on there for how long it was going to take before the buy now button showed up for you. He had you sold on the deal in the first 2 minutes, but you had to watch the video for another 20 before the button would show up. Now, I'm watching the video, and he is just one hell of a salesman. And he can get you to buy shit that it boggles my mind. So I was like totally sold on this. And basically what it was, just so you know, he's got a coaching group, basically like what I do here. The only difference is his isn't $30 a month. His is $400 a month for the group coaching like this. And I've bought into it before, and I know it is no different than what we're doing right here. So I'm like, all right, no, there's no way in hell I'm doing that again. It's like, swap me once, it's okay. Swap me twice, yeah, my bad. Not a third time. God damn it, he got me a third time. But here's the thing. I wanted to do it. I was ready to do it. My phone rings, and it was one of the top people from the Be Connected platform wanting to talk to me on some pretty good stuff that I'll share with you guys. But anyway, I take the call, obviously, and after about a half hour, I come back to my computer, and the freaking thing says sold out. Sorry, it expired. And I'm like, God damn it. And I'm thinking, okay, I am a master at gaming systems. Let's see if this is true. So I took the same link, I opened up an incognito window in Chrome, plugged it back in, and I'll be damned, the offer was still good. He just did this sense of scarcity that you missed it. And the reason he does this, I know why he does this, because he trained us on this like 10 years ago when he sold Mass Control. When you bought his Mass Control program, he gave you a free bonus that was called Crowd Control. And Crowd Control was where he broke down what he did to you in Mass Control. And it was flat out incredible. You know, just all the little things, all the little triggers, all the NLP behind it, all that stuff. And what he does is he's like, he put it this way, he's like training mice. You know, when they go through the maze and they bump into the wall, they know they can't go that direction, so they have to change directions. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to train you to take his offers fast. So he knows next time when he sends an offer and they got expired and they couldn't do it and they really wanted it, next time he gets an offer out to them, he knows they're going to snap it up instantly. So that's the whole, like, the psychology behind why he's doing that. All of what I just told you, you can do in Kartra. Kartra does all of it. It does the timers, it does, you know, the whole sequence, like exactly what I'm telling you. And I just thought that I wanted to share that with you guys, because every time I see a marketing campaign, I'm looking for the components, I'm looking for the big ideas, I'm looking for the sequencing. And I'm looking at this from guys that I know are killing it with this stuff. So I can share that with you and break it down and show you, hey, here's what's working, here's why it's working, here's how to make it work for you. So anyway, that's my first share of the day. Lisa, go ahead. You got to unmute.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just a quick report on the last Thursday when I was all frustrated about my poor actors and my Thursday evening Zoom was so successful. It was also a love fest. Like, I now have to learn to edit because everybody was like, oh no, we're with you. We were just waiting for the free stuff to be over. And so I now have 20 people in my membership, which was my goal. And doing more, but this is, and nobody here is going to ever unsubscribe from John's. But my question is about, because now you're running this in Kartra, I have not ever been able to locate once as a participant, once you're inside the membership, how you can cancel. And Anthony can't figure it out, and I've been on the Kartra Facebook groups, and they say, well, you have to go to billing. And I'm like, well, why isn't that inside the membership? So it's very complicated, and I've had to do something manual because somebody signed up for the wrong thing, and you can revoke access and or stop billing. It's just, I need something automated. So you've got it in place. Can you help, please?
Sure. When you're inside the products tab in Kartra,
yeah,
there is a little sub tab under there that's called self-billing, and it gives you a link to your link to give your people to log into their account and manage their billing accounts.
So what I've done based on somebody's advice is I put that link in the welcome email. problem is they need their an invoice number. The invoice number comes separate from the welcome email. So when you sign up for the membership, you get a welcome email produced by me with all the login information. But in a separate email from Kartra, you get the actual transaction number. It's not in the welcome email. So they have to go back, look for the other thing to be able to log into self-billing.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
find that to be totally non-linear and very difficult. And
Yes, I am totally in agreement with you on that. I believe there is another way in, and I've got to look for it to figure that one out for you, but it's through the help desk. Like, I think if you create a help desk, I think there's a way for them to log into your help desk,
right,
and then access it from there. Because
okay,
I know what you're talking about now that I think about it. Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
it's a pain in the ass, and then it becomes a customer service nightmare, because if somebody wants to cancel, then a human being has to go in and deal with it manually or tell them how to do it. And I don't have a help desk yet set up in the membership. So
Now there's another thing too, under that tab, under the self-billing, there's some levers in there that you can adjust. And one of the levers, I believe, is allowing them to cancel and also allowing them to process their own refunds.
Yeah, no, I've got that turned off. So I've done all that. The thing is it just seems to me that if you're in your own account with the little icon which is the human icon, the only thing you can do is change your password. Why can't you just update your credit card, cancel? I go back to Infusionsoft, which was confusing, but
yeah, no, you can. I just, off the top of my head, I can't tell you how to get there, but I have been there. Like, Kartra is the same way, and I'm pretty sure you access it through the help desk. But you can get access, you can update your credit card, you can do all of that stuff. Because that's where you find it, where you can update your credit card.
Okay, so, all right, so I need to add the help desk to the membership.
Yeah, you want to go in and configure that. It's super easy to configure the help desk. It's just like everything else. It just walks you through. It's like a paint by numbers. And
got it. And then then again, I finally got the contact us page, the contact, and I'll get a message from Kartra saying, this person has contacted you, but then I have to go into Kartra, go to that person's thing, and then read the message. I can't even just click the email that Kartra sends me to take me in. It's getting me a little clamped here.
Okay, let me show you what it looks like.
Show me.
Okay, so you guys can see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, so on my website, I have my little help desk icon here. Yep. That's a Kartra thing. That's, you paste that code. So when you click that, it opens up your help desk, and then see here where it says my orders, my tickets, support, and log out. So under my orders, this is where it shows there's your credit card. Here's your, here's where you can see refunds, all that. You can take actions.
Okay, so this may be the answer.
All that good stuff. Yeah.
All right. All right. And then last question, and again, this is about membership. And since I'm basically duplicating what you do here, you send out an email a day prior or whatever, which I've kept and I will also duplicate, just as a reminder to people, and here's the link and here's the time, and it's at the regular time. I like that, because if I ever change the time, then it won't.
Yeah, because I do that every once in a while. I'll do the call, but it won't be at the regular time. So
is that automated, or is that like pre-set up, or do you go in and push the button? Because I feel like I've gotten it at different times.
Yes, I am total transparency here. I am still pushing the button.
Okay.
And you guys should all be proud of me. I actually upped my game this week, and you got a formatted email. Did you notice that? with the nice blue header. I actually set
Oh,
that up.
yes.
Jim watched me set that up just the other day. It's like, damn it, why am I not doing this? I'm doing it for everybody else. Why don't I do this for myself?
It totally looks great.
Yeah. And it literally, I mean, what did it take me, Jim? Like 2 minutes to do that?
Oh, my emails are beautiful. I mean,
Yes.
I've got graphics and things going on and colors. Yeah. But the automated part is the stuff that I really desire.
No,
because it takes me a long time to make those beautiful emails.
it's super easy to do the automation stuff inside Kartra. The only thing is like for me, it's probably harder for me knowing that eventually at some time I'm going to have to change the sequence. It's probably a mental block for me thinking, it's going to be a pain in the butt to go in and change the sequence if it's not the regular call time. So that probably for me has been the thing that's held me back from automating that particular process.
I wonder if you could set it at the beginning of the month just to be broadcasts. And then if something changes, you don't have it be a sequence.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. That's the thing that holds me back is to me, I know how easy it is to send a broadcast out and I'm cloning them.
Yeah.
Literally, like when I send the email out, the reminder for you guys, here's the thing. I log into Kartra. I hit the broadcast button for broadcast email. I hit the clone button and it's like 3 clicks. Click, 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 boom, it's gone. It takes me less than a minute to do it.
All right.
So it's not painful on my part. That's probably why I haven't pulled the trigger on automating it. But
Well, I'm going to work on the help desk this week because we've definitely had a few technical difficulties, but they've all been hanging and they're wonderful. And so I can't wait to have 300 people like you.
yeah, but you do have beautiful emails. I'll definitely give you that. Every time I see them, I'm like, yeah, she is just kicking my butt with this stuff.
Oh, you're on my list.
I am on your list.
Be on your list. Hey, John, question off Elise's. And you're saying how when you send the broadcast, you open your broadcast, you hit the broadcast button, you hit clone, and then you hit send. Can you automate that? Like if you wanted to like schedule it, and then you don't even have to do all that, or you know what I mean?
You absolutely can, and that's called a sequence. Like let's say I wanted to create a sequence and I wanted the sequence to be ongoing. I can create that sequence of automation to do that. Like, I could send it every Wednesday at noon if I wanted to. The thing is, I know that, as fluid as my life is, sometimes I change the Thursday calls. Like I might get a speaking opportunity or something during this time slot. So when that happens, then I either push the call up or back or move it a day forward or backward. And it's this mental thing for me of, oh man, I don't want to have to go in there and find it. I know exactly how to send them out. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I just figured I'd ask because I know that you like to streamline things and automate it, like make life easy. And I love that about you.
Exactly. But that particular thing that's not a thorn in my side at all. The only thorn in my side is sometimes I don't remember it. Like last night, it was probably midnight before you guys got that email. I was like,
remembered though.
Yeah, I did eventually remember. But that's the only thorn in my side is just my memory.
I totally relate. Hey, I have a question. Woody and I are developing the buyer and seller avatars anew.
Okay.
And we're using the ACT program. And I wanted to know, and we're also partnering up with Tammy. So we have a 4:00 meeting with her. So we want to, I wanted to ask you, when we follow the ACT program, like we took the course in April live with you, or maybe it was Memorex and we didn't realize, but whatever. But the question I have is, when I'm reading, like we partnered up with Tammy and we have an email that we're going to fill out from our ACT program workbook. And when we're going through the avatar, are we answering the questions like making it up like answering those questions to the best of our ability? Or like my question is, are we answering the questions and making it up, or do we somehow, am I missing the research part of it and not getting it?
Sure. No, that's a pretty common question. The workbook is really just, it's a guideline for you to think. The whole purpose behind the exercise is for you to get clear in your head who you're speaking to. So whether you fill it out or you don't fill it out, that's the purpose behind it. Let's say there's another deeper level purpose if you're going to not do your own copy. If you have someone in-house or you're going to hire a copywriter, that information is exactly what they need to write spectacular copy for you. Because a copywriter is just like a computer. It's garbage in, garbage out. The better information you give a copywriter, the better copy they're going to provide you. And those are a lot of the questions that they're going to ask you. And here's the problem with that. Let's say you hire a copywriter, paid him a lot of money. He's going to do an intake call. He's going to ask you all those questions, and he's going to take your answers off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're feeding him garbage because you haven't really thought through it. So the whole idea of the workbook is for you to think through it and really get clear on who your avatar is. So whether you're writing your own copy or you're conveying what you want written to someone else, you get it right.
Yeah, because your illustration about Frank Kern this morning, he has his target market and his copy down to, you feel like even in his ads, you feel like he's talking right to you. So he knows his.
Exactly.
I mean, I would like you to send us the link to that just to listen to the master, you know, the way he's so persuasive, but he's like, you know, Frank and all those NLP guys and the hypnosis people, they all kind of work together.
Yeah, that's exactly why they're so successful too. You know, it's like I keep telling everybody, I'm not kidding about this. One successful marketing campaign can change your life. It's absolutely true.
So I have a question. So we're with Woody, we're developing the website with you, and Tammy, of course, is our now right-hand person. So we're developing the website, and we are also developing the ads to be integrated, like a seamless, like when people see the ads, then if they're curious, they could go to the website and they could opt in. Oh, you know, I lost money, I need to sell my house, you know, whatever. Oh my God, the question just flew out of my brain.
Well, let me just inject some really important stuff of where you are right now.
Yeah.
The best thing that you can do in this part of your process is come up with your big ideas. You've got 3 different avatars. So it's going to require you to have 3 separate funnels. You're going to have one for buyers, sellers, and investors. That's your 3 targets. So that has now become very clear. So now the next thing is you need 3 big ideas that's going to do exactly what Frank Kern did, is understand each one of them, reach out specifically, and speak their language. So the big idea really ties everything together. If you don't have that down, that's the first piece of the puzzle. The big idea. It's like, you know, David Ogilvy said it the best I've ever heard. He said an ad campaign that's not geared toward a big idea or built upon a big idea will pass like a ship in the night.
And John, when you say the big idea, is that like when we were talking about when you share about like your Elvis?
Yeah, the Elvis shift is a big idea.
Okay. So it's like a unique hook or a unique angle to offer your avatar that would get their attention, something really appealing for them.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. A big idea is an angle of attack. It's like you can have multiple angles of attack for the same avatar, the same sale, the same product, the same everything, because people hear things differently. Like you guys have probably heard me say the same thing multiple times in very different ways. because I know some of you will hear things differently. That's why I do it. So when I'm teaching and training, a lot of times I will. Some people will get irritated by it. They say, would you stop saying the same thing? I'm like, I'm saying it in a different way where other people hear it. So it's
Right.
very intentional. I'm not just doing it to hear myself talk. I'm doing it specifically for a reason. So
I have the question back on. So with real estate, it's a whole new world for me. And Woody's he's extremely, has a lot of experience, and knows what he's doing. But for me, I wanted to ask you, can we develop an effective campaign to get leads from people, like to really get people to take action with Kartra? You know, like I know that relies on our coming up with a big idea and getting the copy and having the opt-in be juicy. But a couple of people have given Woody feedback like, oh, you never get leads on the internet. You never get leads from, and so I said, no, I think John can help us become very effective.
yeah, that advice there is absolute, complete, unadulterated bullshit. That you
Thank
cannot,
God.
I mean, who in the hell told you that?
These couple of real estate people, and I got so discouraged, I started crying because we're working really hard to get this developed with you. And I said, no, I believe John can help us. And then I want to ask you, can Kartra work in any, like, I don't quite understand Kartra. I know it creates whole like opt-in systems, but can you marry it to Facebook ads or other social media platforms and have it be effective?
Absolutely. All with Kartra is a back-end system for your business, for your website, for your social media, for everything. Kartra it can create landing pages for you if you don't have them. It can create buttons to go onto your website, to calls to action, to go to landing pages, to get people to opt in. But I can guarantee you this, whatever works in the real world works in the online space. You just have to figure out how to replicate it. So that person that told you that you can't get leads online, they probably have trouble getting leads in the real world too. Or they don't have anybody that's shed the light on, hey, most of the world's moved to this little thing called the internet now. That's how a lot of business is being done.
Right. And I wanted to just kind of soothe my own soul because I want to make sure we could be effective and have the results. So how, like, I guess the bridge is, how do we get from where we are to, I know I got that we're working on a lot of moving parts right now, but the key is developing effective campaigns, like you just said. Do you have any, can you point us?
Yeah, I can totally break it down in a very simplistic way for you too, based on 3 letters of the alphabet.
Okay.
Bet you guys know what they are. It's ACT. The A is figuring out who you're talking to. The C is creating the messaging that's going to compel them. And the T is the traffic of bringing the right person to the message. It literally is that simple. A successful ad campaign has those 3 components going to work together. Any one of them without the other 2, or any 2 without the third one, is going to fail. I guarantee it. Because you can't have the second one without the first one.
Okay.
There's no way you're going to speak the right language to the right person if you don't understand who they are. And if you get those 2 things totally dialed in, and then you don't bring it in front of them, how's that going to work out for you?
Right. Okay. So that's great.
They do not operate independently. It's all 3 or nothing. If you're not going to do all 3, you might as well go do something else, like sleep or sit in a hot tub or go lay on the beach or whatever it is that you like to do, because that's the only thing that's going to work for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I
So at
just-
least we're on the right track because we are on the ACT track.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I'm typically very soft and cuddly, but I'm getting more aggressive with this because I just see so many people failing, and
Mhm.
it's like, stop, you guys are killing me. It's like, this is some pretty simple stuff, but you know, I don't know how to say it other than it just does not work. They do not work independently. You've got to have all three.
Okay, thank you, John.
It's
John, I wanted to give you some feedback on my telesummit and the event that I did and the help that you gave me in my desperate hour of need.
awesome.
So John helps me put together my calendar, my mailing list, my my landing page, and it was just literally putting, because somebody else that I hired to do this let me down, and I had a telesummit coming up within 4 days. I'm like, oh crap. So I also hired Tammy to help me brush in the rest of the pieces. But I had over 200 people that responded to the telesummit, 115 that attended and stayed on probably 95% of the time, and 86 to the very end. I got 38 leads that dropped in, and yes, thank you. And I couldn't have done that without your help, John. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh,
That was
you're
awesome.
very welcome. And I just want you to say this, because when I say it, it's one thing, but I want you to tell them, how long from start to finish did it take me to do that for you?
Less than 45 minutes.
Yeah, we basically created
That was a calendar, that was a master mailing list, that was a landing page, that was a sequence, that was a thank you page. It was like eight different things in a sequence. And I'm like, oh, and then booking me. So I got 12 calls that were actually booked. And there was a little faux pas that I had to wait for a couple of days for Tammy to help me fix. But so yesterday I sent out another mass, and so, and of the group, and I'm so glad that you tagged. So here's a big, huge benefit and a big aha. When you're doing a campaign, you need to tag so you know where it came from and where did they go on your site. So that tag that he created for me, one was book now, like skip the line and just go to her direct. And the other one was go in directly because you don't really know if you want to do that yet or not. So I have 37 people in that funnel. And then they're going to get fed into a campaign. So they responded, get this free and download, and the thank you page. And then the second was, skip with my Gmail calendar or with my Google calendar. We had to fix that. So we fixed it. And the benefit of the tag is that I was able to target those same people that wanted to book. I didn't have to figure out who it was, and send out a very specific campaign to them, which I did yesterday, and they all rebooked. So thank you.
Awesome. And like she said, I set that entire Kartra campaign up in less than an hour. And, you know, the only way I can do that is if you know exactly what you want to do. Like pulling the triggers and the levers and building a Kartra campaign is just nuts and bolts. It is really simple. And
that helps. Having clarity really helps. It's like those people.
Yeah. And then Tatiana, you're new to the group. Welcome. I appreciate you being on here with us. And she just asked, what does the ACT stand for? It's analysis. I know Jim put it in the chat for all of you guys, but for anybody that doesn't know, it's the ACT program. It's a marketing protocol that I came up with that's based on how the ad agencies do it. And the three things, the A is for analysis. That's the first thing an ad agency will do. They'll do market research. They will figure out exactly who the market is, what the segments are, which one's the most profitable. And then of that segment, that's where they build the avatar. They do not build the avatar on the first step of analysis. And that's where most marketers teach. They teach, jump into the avatar. You got to create your avatar. Well, that's like 3 or 4 steps down the line to get it right. So the analysis is all about figuring out the market, honing the market down to its segments, targeting the most profitable segment, and creating your avatar from that profitable segment. So that's the biggest key piece out of the A, so you can create your messaging, understanding what's really important to that person, why it's important, why what you have is going to be an integral part of them. So you can move to the next thing, which is the C, and that's the creation. Creation covers everything that you will create, including a website, a logo, a brand, a message, an email. Everything that you create should be based on what you discovered in that A. If it's not, then you have a broken thing in your process, because you have to talk to them specifically, just like what Frank Kern does. The way he does it is spectacular. And then the C, or that's what the C is. And then the T, that's the traffic portion. That's when you figured out your market, you figured out the messaging that's going to convert them. Now you have to bring that out to the world. And you can literally take cold traffic, connect them with your messaging, and let the creation of your funnel take process and let it do the hard work for you. And what I tell people is, like, in the creation mode, a lot of times, if you're in business, if you've been in business for a while, the analyze part will be somewhat easy for you, because you know your people already, you know what's important to them because of your interaction with them. So by knowing that, you've probably created a sales process, and you know how to talk to people already. You know, when you meet someone, here's my script, my internal script of how I talk to someone. And you know that works for you, that converts. So you've already got that piece down for a lot of people. The problem is, when you go into a new market and you don't know it, you really have to do that work. You've got to figure that stuff out, because you cannot create a functioning marketing campaign if you don't know that stuff. But when you do, and you bring the right people to the right message, it doesn't matter if they know you or not. They will get to know you through the process of the campaign, and that will all flush itself out. It's just like meeting someone at a network marketing event, or an networking event, or wherever you meet people, even at a church or a bar, or wherever you hang out, you meet people. And the first thing you usually use, whether you know it or not, is an elevator speech, because they'll ask you, "Oh, what do you do?" That's your elevator speech. That's your little short grabber. And if you don't know how to convey that information, and you say something that doesn't resonate with them, it's like, "Oh yeah, great to meet you." Game over, right? The conversation doesn't go any further. But if you throw out a little bomb and they lean forward and say, "Oh wow, I want to know about that," that's a lead magnet. All this stuff has been going on in the real world for a long time. It's not new. It's just the internet marketers have put names to everything. They call this a lead magnet, and they call this a tripwire, and they call this a funnel. It's all just a sales process. And it's stuff that we've all been doing for our whole lives for the most part. When I was a kid, it was like, "Hey, I want a model airplane. What do I have to do for that? I need money. So I'm going to go ask the neighbor, 'Hey, can I wash your car for a quarter?'" Yeah, the process has been going on for as long as I've been alive, and I'm pretty sure it didn't start with me. So yes, go ahead.
So thank you for having me here. I'm so happy I find this group, got introduced by Joe.
Oh, awesome.
So, I'm very new to the business. I was mom for 20 years, so my world was pretty much just children and school and sport. So starting new business, it's literally learning the alphabets and multiplication. So while I'm building the business, I'm learning social media, I'm learning, so that's pretty scary. But I'm kind of person, I take just give me information, I do it. So lately what I realized, I keep running faster and faster with all the information, and I'm not moving forward.
Yep.
I'm sinking in because I'm running so much in one spot. I'm not going anywhere. So, but also my avatar is myself. So I know my avatar very well. I post Facebook and Instagram what I would like to learn. So my business is basically t-shirts, inspirational clothing for women. And everybody loves the idea. Everybody, oh my God, oh my God. The problem is nobody's buying. So,
Yeah.
like, yes, that's so awesome. Yes, that's so cute. Like, okay, so can you buy it?
Mhm.
So I don't get it.
Yes, and I can tell you part of the problem is what happens inside mastermind groups where they're all your friends, and that's what's called a warm audience. Whenever you give your idea to a warm audience, they all encourage you whether it's a good idea or not. So it's a false sense of security. And I'm not saying that's 100% of the time, but I see that over and over and over. Now, before I tell somebody something's a good idea, I look at the key components. First one, is there a market? Is there a segment of the market that's profitable? And, you know, to figure out if you have a profitable segment, there's 3 pieces to that. It has to be a big enough market segment to support your sales goals. The people in it have to have the money to purchase your product, and they also have to have the desire to part with the money to solve the problem that your product presents. Those 3 things in conjunction tell me that's a profitable market segment. Let's go after it. Let's figure it out. And then we go to work. We figure out, okay, why do they want it? What's it going to do for them? How's their life going to change when they get it? All of those kind of things are going to give you your buying triggers of what's going to be important. That's the stuff you need to talk about in your marketing campaign. So I talk a lot about these 2 things. Whenever I start into a marketing campaign, I want to accomplish these 2 things before I make an offer. I want to seduce their heart and convince their head. You've got these two personalities that live inside of all of us, and it's the conscious and the subconscious. The subconscious is where all of our desire lives. That's the heart. So that's where I attack first. I'm going to seduce the heart. So the way that you do that is you make promises to the heart of its desired outcome. Whatever that is for your avatar, you've got to seduce the heart first. That's what's going to get them to want what you have. If they don't want what you have, it's game over. That's the end of the playtime. So you want to do that. You want to accomplish that first. The next thing, before I make the offer, now that I've got the heart seduced, the heart wants it. The heart's saying, yes, I will buy that. But now you have the head, which is the conscious mind. It gets in the way. It screws it up for us as marketers. The head steps in the way, and the job of the head is to protect the heart. So the head comes up with all kinds of objections of why we say no. It's like, no, I don't want you to get your heart broken. I'm going to protect you. The job of the head is to protect the heart. It does not want the heart to get broken, because then it has mental anguish back to the head. The head does not like that. So the head does not want the heart broken. So it's what's going to say no. That's where your objections are going to come from. Those are going to come from beliefs. It has nothing to do with the heart. The heart doesn't have beliefs. The heart just wants what it wants when it wants it. It's like a little kid. You should know about this, right? A little kid has no logic. They just want what they want. They don't care about anything else. That's the heart. That's the subconscious. The head is like the parent. It's there to protect the heart. You know, the kid wants to grab the hot oven. Well, the parent wants to prevent that because it wants to protect the heart. So that's where your objections come from. So if you can seduce the heart and convince the head by eliminating those objections, and then you make your offer, now you're talking high conversion. Now you got no reason to say no. Now you're going to turn the no's into yeses. That makes sense. I mean, that's a simplistic way to put it, but that's why we have to figure out the A. That's why we have to know what's important to the heart so we can talk to it. We need to know what's going to become the objections so we can talk to the head. Because if we can talk to the head and the heart and we can get them in sync with, we are the best solution for them, we're going to make sales. I guarantee it. I've never seen a situation where that in play didn't convert like crazy. And I've also never seen a situation where you didn't seduce the heart, you didn't convince the head, and you sold anything at all. So it's such a cut and dry. It's a left and a right. There's a right and a wrong, and there's no in between. You know, it's kind of sad on one side, but then on the other side, it's like you should be delighted because now you know how it works. Now you can put it to work for you. And once you get that right and you figure out how to seduce the heart, convince the head, now you just want to spread the word. That's where social media can come into play and spread the word for you. But if you're spreading the word before you got those two things figured out, you're spinning your wheels, you're chasing your tail, whatever you call it, you're not moving forward. And there's a gazillion people in the marketplace that are really good at doing that. They're really good at seducing the heart, convincing the head. But it does not mean that what they have is a good product. It means they're a good marketer. And I know I am like victim of this probably as much as anybody. I love to buy stuff and I love to be sold and I love the process. You know, it's almost like a drug addiction. When you buy something, it makes you feel good. You get this little dopamine hit in your head. And that's why upsells are so effective. It's like, I swear to God, it's just like being addicted to a drug. When you get a hit, the hit wears off and you need another one. And that's what the upsell is. You know, you're excited about the sale. You put your credit card information in and you get this feeling of, I just did something really good for myself. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're coming down off that high and they're, oh, by the way, if you want to make that really effective, you can buy this second tier and that'll take your results to a new level. You're like, okay, another hit of dopamine. And they just over and over and over and over. And that's how they're so effective at those upsells. That's exactly the mechanics behind it of what's going on. You know, like when you buy a new car, you know, the first thing they're going to do, they're not going to just give you the keys and let you drive that thing off the lot. You're going into the back room. You're going to get sold on all kinds of shit. You know, I mean, you're going to get sold on warranties. You're going to get sold on car washes. You're going to get sold up and up and up and up. And we love it. We absolutely love the process, you know, or most of us do anyway. But that's what's going on. That's the mechanics behind the process. So it's
I have a couple of things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. One quick thing for Tatiana. I think he might consider going after your avatars being the people that are into like Reiki and a law of attraction kind of stuff, you know, like your Tony Robbins or, you know, energy healers, that kind of, anybody that's into that kind of stuff are generally have enough money to go after the positivity stuff, and they're totally into that kind of thing. So, and then John, I was wondering, how long does it take to transfer that website domain? Because it's been 2 days now and it's still not showing up in my my domains owned in this new thing, and the other side says it's in transfer. So I didn't know.
Gotcha. Okay, so if you're transferring a domain from one registry to another, that can take about a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That process, that I've seen take I haven't seen it take any more than a week, but it usually takes about a week. Now, if you're switching hosts and you update name servers, that takes just a couple hours.
Okay.
That's a pretty quick shift. But transferring from one registrar to another, there's a holding period.
Okay.
That's set up by the registries themselves. So
Okay.
they don't want you to be able to just like grab a domain and whip it across the fence, because that would
Right.
cause some fraud issues with a lot of people.
Okay. And so I'm not able to make any edits or setting changes or anything like that until that transfer is complete, right?
You can make the changes in the existing registrar during the transfer process. You just don't have access on the new registrar to do it.
Okay, I see.
So once they're in the new registrar, that one takes over, and then you have edit capability.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody's doing that, but I switched over to the Internet Dominators domain registry as opposed to the WordPress crappy domain registry that I have no control over.
Yeah, there's a ton of places out there like WordPress and Wix and, you know, all these. They get you to buy your domain through them, so they take control of it. And you're way better off, even if it's in GoDaddy, you're better off to have your domains registered in a regular domain registry, not one of these like bundle package things. So I use, like, if anybody's looking for a domain registry, I have one through Internet Dominators. I use the same backend that GoDaddy does. It's called Wild West Domains. So if you use my domain registry, you're going to see it looks almost identical to what if you went through GoDaddy. And as far as domain registries, I'm not trying to sell you on one or the other, but they all are pretty much the same functionality. You know, so like if you're in network solutions, you're getting ripped off. They're still at like $35 a year. Domain registry services should be about $10 a year or less. That's the going rate. So if you're paying more than that, you might want to cut your costs and move to a domain registry that doesn't price gouge, because that's all they're doing. They just literally hold your domain for you and point it to wherever you're hosted. It can be anywhere.
Hi, John.
Hey, Anthony, how's it going?
How are you? Good. I wanted to wish you a happy 4th. I know this is a big time of the year for you.
Yeah.
You got the fireworks ready for this weekend? You have your fireworks ready?
The neighborhood is buckled down. They're bracing themselves.
Hey, can you post a video this weekend of what you do? Because I've always been curious as to how.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think? Would you be able to post something?
Sure, I would be happy to do that. I usually do that. I usually put it in Facebook or something. In fact, if you go back into my Facebook, my personal Facebook account, I think we're connected. You can look back at the video section, and there's some pretty spectacular shows in there.
Don, are you in Orange County?
I am. I'm in Huntington Beach.
Okay,
So is the party on?
No, well, I don't know. Our mayor has decided there's no fireworks. You shouldn't even have family gatherings. So the popo will come bust you.
they've pretty much locked everything down. I think they're even shutting the beaches down. I heard the beaches
are
are
shut
all going to
down.
be closed. They've canceled all the public fireworks shows, all of that stuff. But I got to tell you, a couple of years ago, we had some friends that actually were on the beach for the public fireworks show. And everybody's watching the public fireworks show, and then they turn their attention behind them, and they were all thinking that it was Disneyland shooting up a big show. And my friend says, no, that's not Disneyland, that's Limbo Land. That was us. My nephew, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but my nephew was out and he had his drone up, and he's shooting drone footage of around the city. And there's fireworks literally going up everywhere. And then there's right in the middle of it, there's my show going up, and it just dwarfed everything. So pretty crazy.
So,
John,
you
I
better
said
get
I
one more
put in
showing.
a.
It's the last one.
What was that, Tim?
I said you better get one more show in before it's our last Independence Day. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. Well, there might be a whole new kind of independence. There might be a civil war goes on.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I'm all for that.
John, I put in in the chat box. I had a question about this crazy situation. We have pages that are ranking. This site is in the search console in Google. So certain pages are ranking, other pages aren't. And the reason they're saying is if you click on the screenshot, if you can go in there, it says it will be indexed only if certain conditions are met. And then there's this whole panoply of, possible things, including whether it conforms to quality and security guidelines. And then if you click on that, yeah, you're laughing. Yeah. And if you click on that, it could be for reasons not mentioned here. How do you figure out, what the problem is? It's not that, I looked at all of the usual things. Keyword density is fine. The load time is pretty good. I mean, it's not great, but it's, it's pretty good. How would you go about figuring out?
This is standard operating procedure for Google. They don't want you to figure it out. That's why they're not going to tell you. They're not going to give you the roadmap. If you go in and look, it's probably something really simple. Like you probably have a no follow or a no index tag, because you're probably getting this from your Google Webmaster Console.
Right.
Yeah. They don't really want to come out and tell you how to rank. So it's probably something super simple like that. I would look first. The first place I would look is to, look at your robots.txt file and see if there's a line in there that says no index. That's probably what it is. That's the most likely thing I could think of off the top of my head. I mean, I can't really think logically of anything else that would prevent you from being indexed.
Yeah.
So the idea
it says it could be indexed. No, no technical can be indexed, but it won't be indexed only if certain conditions are met. But then they won't tell you what the conditions are.
That's why that leads me to believe it's a no index tag that you've got.
Okay.
Everything else is probably right on par. So because then in your Webmaster Tools back end, I don't know what they call it. They changed the name of it so many times, but it's a Webmaster Tools place inside Google where they'll put a code on your site so they can analyze it for you. And then they've got things in there that give you best practices and all that. So if you have a page that's not indexed, they're probably saying in there, trying to help you out, saying, hey, this isn't indexed. And it could be if you meet certain criteria. That just logically tells me it's probably a no index tag.
Okay.
I would check that first. And if it's not that, I mean, just look for this. I really, seriously, I can't think of anything else that would prevent it from being indexed.
Yeah.
That's almost certainly what it is. But yeah, some other things too, that this is pretty exciting for a couple of you. The rest of you are going, what the hell is he talking about? But it's our Site Pop software, which is a software that my team developed to manipulate the Google algorithm. And we are just about to release version 2 of it, which is now going to manipulate Yelp, Bing, Amazon, and YouTube.
Wow.
Which, that's a monster. Our little 90-pound gorilla is about to turn into a 900-pound gorilla. So we're pretty excited about that. And I think we're probably realistically a month out before we actually release that to the public. We're going to be doing some beta stuff with it. So if anybody wants to test that and you know what you're doing, let me know. because we'll be putting some case studies together. But we've got all the algorithms. We know exactly what moves the needle, and we've already got the devices. We've got over 10,000 of them out in the world. So we have a pretty good,
I'm down for beta testing.
pretty good army to play with. So lots of cool stuff going on over here.
Can you say more about that? Because it's, you know, it's juicy and you're being Frank Kernish.
Well, for a few people are using it's software called SitePop. And what it does is it sends out search signals to Google. Like Google is based on artificial intelligence now. A big part of its algorithm is artificial intelligence based. And what that means is Google used to look at just code on the site. That's how they based their decision who was going to be at the top. That got gamed so much they went to popularity, which was link building. The more links you had coming into your site, each link was like a vote for popularity. And then they put a lot of their weight on that. Then it went to more of a combination of popularity and code, which is where we've been for a long time. But then a few years ago, they started seeing, okay, both of these systems are gamed beyond our control. We can't keep a lid on it anymore. We've got to do something drastic. So they went to user experience, which I predicted they were going to do this back in 2010. And now we're full swing on it. So they're looking at how users actually interact with a web page and basing their decision on that of who should be at the top. So again, the other stuff is still there. The code is still important. The link building is still important. But now they have this, it's almost like I've done some presentations and I've actually said Google has this magic new tool. I call it the bullshit meter. And, you know, you can do the code right, you can fake the code, you can fake the links, but now they got a bullshit meter that's going to tell them if you're real or not. And it's like when people go to your site, if they bounce off, Google's going to know it's not true. You really aren't the best and we shouldn't be sending traffic to you. That's where their artificial intelligence has kicked in, and it's looking at all of that. It's looking at how users search, how they visit sites, and what they do after the click. So what our software does is, you know, we've got over 10,000 cell phones out in the network that are running our apps. And those cell phones, I can send out jobs to any one of those cell phones to run a search for me or run a search for one of our customers or one of our users. So it'll run a search for their keyword. It looks in the search results. Now it looks for your domain. When it finds it, it clicks through. And then it goes on a few pages on your site, ultimately lands on your contact page, and then closes the browser out. That tells Google that they sent the right person to the right page and they did the right thing. So they're going to keep on doing it. And they're going to do more of it. So they're going to start pushing you up in the results. The other thing that we do is if it doesn't find you, let's say the person runs the search and they don't find you, they bounce back on Google into the search box and they add your brand name to the search phrase. Then they run the search, then they obviously find you and the same process continues. Now what that tells Google's algorithm is that tells their artificial intelligence, hey, you didn't send this person the right results. They had to ask again and then you got it right. So what that tells them is all these people that are searching this phrase isn't getting what they want. This is the site they want. So it pushes it to the top. So that's how the algorithm works. And that's where we've built the software to actually do that, to create that. I mean, you could have all of your best friends run the searches for you and do that, but they're going to probably do it once and it'll be fun. But you need this to go on every day, 365 days a year. That's where our software comes in. So we've looked at now, we knew Google, I knew Google like the back of my hand, but we took a look at Bing, we took a look at Yelp, because I've got people that want to rank in Yelp. They want all kinds of traffic sources. They want Yelp traffic, they want Amazon traffic to their Amazon products. They want, you know, in YouTube's huge. I've got a ton of people asking me, hey, can your software work on YouTube? And I'm like, there's little tricks and ways I can show you how to do it, but it's not really made for that. Well, now it's going to be made for that. So with YouTube, you actually have to watch the videos. So we had to tweak it to where it will actually watch the video now, and we got to figure out how to turn the sound off on the user's device so they don't have their phone in their pocket and it starts playing videos and hearing the sound. So we've got a couple of hurdles to get over. But that's what my team does. I give them the schematic. I say, make this happen. I don't care how, make it happen. And they figure it out. Awesome group of wildcats I've got.
Wow.
So anyway, that's a little bit about, how it works, what it's doing, all of that. Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I see Tim, he's over there going, man, this guy is twisted. Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, anything else before we wrap up for today? All right. Well, everybody have a great 4th of July. And I will.
John, I have a question, John.
Okay, go for it.
When I'm on my cell phone on let's say Facebook, there's always a bunch of ads running, like videos.
Yep.
How do you get on that? How much does that cost? What's that all about?
Sure. Those are standard Facebook ads. They have a whole ad department. And just like in Google, you can pay for clicks on Google. You can do the same thing in Facebook. And you can create an ad account in your Facebook account. There's a button to create an ad account. And then you can set up, you can say, I want to run my ads out to these target audiences. It is a really kind of tricky game because Facebook is so big. And as you know, you've got to bring the right message to the right person or it doesn't convert. You can wind up spending a lot of money in Facebook ads and not get any sales from it if you don't do it right.
Well, Linda Kay and I in this group are realtors. And what I notice I'm bombarded with are white people wanting to buy your house. And, to us, that's but, so be it. There's a market for everyone. It must work to some degree, or these guys got so much cash to burn, they don't give a shit. But I would really like to see a white ad like me or Linda on there, with our message. But if it's a lot of money and it ain't gonna work, but I'm just curious because I see them over and over, Hi, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to screw you, steal your house. Have a nice day.
Yeah. It's not that it's costs a lot of money, but here's the thing. If you don't convert, then is when it costs a lot of money. If it converts, it doesn't cost you anything. It puts money in your pocket. But to get it to convert, like here's something that they're probably doing. They're probably targeting a zip code radius. They're probably saying, okay, I want to hit people in this zip code range of this age group that are homeowners, and they can also tap into debt. They can see, what kind of debt load you're carrying, and there's all kinds of stuff that they can do to create these audiences. And then once they have the audience, they've taken Facebook's, I don't know how many billion people, but they've honed it down to, okay, here's 10,000 of these out of this 10 billion that are perfect for Woody. Let's put Woody's ad in front of them. So that's what they're doing. They're honing it down. They're picking an exact target segment. They're matching up an ad that should resonate with those people, or a number of them. No ad's going to hit 100%. You're probably just in the target group where the ad's not relevant to you. So they're wasting their money sending it to you, but you just happen to be, you know, part of the group that's not relevant. They haven't honed it down enough, and maybe they can't. You can never hone it down to like 100% of your ideal customers. You're going to get some residual in there, no matter how you slice it. So
Got it.
that's
Hey, John, I want to ask a question off of that. You know how everybody's talking about surveillance advertising, and what I find is, like Rich, my husband, has Facebook, a Facebook app on his phone, and he has other social media apps that I don't have on my phone, and we'll be talking, and literally within minutes, ads start popping up on his phone about what we're talking about.
That's
So
part of the artificial intelligence. They're listening now too to the users.
yeah, they're listening. So A, can we block that? And B, how if is Facebook listening, and perhaps if they're listening to Woody and responding, that's why the ad sites are populating on his, because like I don't own a house, but I never get those kind of ads.
Yeah.
So I'm not in that market at all. But is that part of the deal? And how could we, like, does SitePop capitalize on that? Like, how do we tap into that? And
Well, it's funny you should ask. I have a different software that will allow you to capitalize on even a bigger piece than you're probably even thinking there. I don't want to get into it now because it will take too long to do, but maybe next week I can go over that one for you guys. But in
that's
essence,
the one where you
it's
Wi-Fi and it catches everybody.
it's not necessarily like what you're referring to there. It's not necessarily that Facebook itself is listening in. You've got Alexa and Siri, and you've got these devices that are made. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're made to respond to you to make your life easier. But what they're actually doing is they're feeding all the data of everything they hear from you back to an ad network that's compiling big data sources. So an advertiser can come into that source, and they can say, just like you can go to Facebook and you can hone down an audience, you can go to that big data source and you can say, hey, I'd like to know anybody that has mentioned the word fireworks, you know, in the last week. And for a firework vendor, that's a perfect audience to send a targeted ad. Hey, my fireworks stand's opening up on Wednesday. Come down, I'll give you a super deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's what's going on. All that data from those devices that are helpful for our everyday life are feeding all of your information back to that big data collection center. And then that's connected to ad networks, where you could go to the ad network and you say, I want to put my ad in front of this group. What do you got? What can I buy? That's basically this easy way to explain that, of what's going on. So it's not
John, how come?
Facebook doing it, but the ads can show up on Facebook.
Does it also go to Google? Because, like, I'm surprised I don't have a lot of porn popping up.
Well, the ad networks are very cautious about what they display outside the family-friendly zone. Like if you're talking about adult stuff, if you're talking about firearms, alcohol, tobacco, illegal substances, even it's even spilled over into rehab. I mean,
haven't you learned to you search for your porn on one of those what do they call undercover things? You don't do it on the regular browser. You do it on the undercover browser, dude. Haven't you learned it by now?
Is that what you do, Timmy?
It's called an incognito window.
I knew I could say it that way and get away with it.
Google's actually censored all that a lot. It won't even populate any of those results automatically. You have to manually search for it. Like in the long tails, when it starts trying to guess what you're going, it won't show up any of the naughty whatever, or even like firearm or anything like that. It won't auto-populate any of that stuff anymore. because they're trying to censor it and cut it out. And like, you have to actually specifically look for something to actually get it on Google when it's of that nature.
Yeah, there was a
So
lot of
advertising is
lawsuits.
the same way.
Yeah. There's a lot of lawsuits that actually drove that. You know, that's what's behind it. So it's Google, all the ad networks, it's not just Google, they're all very cautious of that because of legalities. It's you know, they're serving the public, the world. There's kids on there. You know, Google's open to any age group, anybody that can browse a phone. So they're very cautious of what they'll display unless you specifically ask for it, like what Mike was saying there. So, and I know that too, because I've got, you know, I have a lot of customers in all different areas of life, and some of them want to buy ads for a lot of that stuff. And there's very few places online where we can actually buy and display ads for a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, Anthony knows this because, you know, he's in the supplement market, and even supplements, you know, and I think it's even moved over into like diet pills and stuff. There's a lot of restrictions depending on what type of product line you're in. But
yeah, it's called big pharma, in big strong arming everything. Anything healthy is banned. Anyway, so how can we remind you to share about that other, you know, the app or the what did you say?
Just ask me about crowd targeting. Crowd
targeting? Oh, that's, yeah, okay.
That's basically what it is. Some of you have already heard about it, but
yep,
that's our thing. It's there's a lot of different ways. I'll go over some of the ways. I'll show you some of the examples of how some people are using it very creatively.
It's very diabolical. You'll like it.
That's what I think it would be beneficial to, like, Woody and real estate. I don't know how, but I feel like that's, my brain keeps saying there's something there for that connection.
Yeah, and remind me how to use it for open houses.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, I'll show you how to you could potentially do that.
Oh my goodness.
In fact, that is actually a hell of an idea.
It really is.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Woody, I actually took the Facebook ads training recently, and it does cost some money to get into it, but do not use Facebook ads as a proving ground for a new marketing campaign. Prove it on something else first, get your numbers, and then run it on there, because their algorithm doesn't allow you a whole lot of control, because their team looks at whatever your ad is and they decide how to try to market it to people, and then they dial in their users that they're going after based off of the results that you're getting and stuff. So you can actually blow through a lot of money if you don't know what your numbers are ahead of time, what your conversion rates are on a particular ad campaign. So dial it in somewhere else before attempting Facebook.
Yeah, good.
Well, you know, I mean, they're just so prevalent, it's hard to ignore, but yeah, I got it.
A good place to do that too, Woody, is in Google itself with pay-per-click ads, because you can go in there and you can say, okay, I can buy traffic for this specific keyword, which tells you that person is really highly interested in that thing. And you can say, if those clicks are $1 a piece, you can say for $100, I can drop 100 people that are highly interested in this particular thing onto a landing page and see how many of them will opt in. That'll give you your conversion ratio on the opt-in. And then you can take that information now you've got some numbers. So for $100 in Google, you can get some conversion numbers really quickly.
Yeah, because Facebook's algorithm, because it tracks your conversions on there, and unless you get enough conversions, it won't dial in your algorithm, and you'll just blow money like no other. So that's part of the thing, is you have to put enough into it, but you also need to know your numbers to know that it's actually hitting the right kind of people. So anyway.
Yeah. What's going on behind the scenes with Facebook is their algorithm is trying to create what's called a lookalike audience. So what they're doing is they can take a conversion, like if you tell them, hey, this person converted, they can take that person and they can look, okay, who's similar to this person? But one person isn't enough for them to really do it effectively. They need like 100 conversions before they can actually look and say, what are the commonalities between these 100 people? And who else do we have in our database that matches that same commonality?
Yeah,
Then
and it'll
they
go
have
into
a
all that kind of stuff too, like what he was talking about with the talking and it's coming into your ads and like all that kind of stuff. Even the common conversations that Facebook is hearing over your phone will feed into your ad network.
Yeah, so that's why it can cost a lot of money. If you don't give Facebook enough information, it'll never really figure out your audience. So it'll just keep sending you garbage traffic, and it's just going to be really expensive. But if you take, like, let's say you've got 100 customers have purchased your product, and you load that list up into Facebook and you say, here's my audience. These are people that have converted. They can take that data and they can say, okay, what do they have in common with our other 10 billion people? And that's how they can create a lookalike audience. And then they can just send that lookalike audience to your ads. But they need enough data to be able to figure that out. So if you're starting fresh and you don't have any conversions, they're just going to say, I don't know who to send. Let's just send some people there and see what happens. And, you know, they might send you 1,000 people and none of them convert. Then what? Okay, well, let's send another 1,000 people. Let's send another 1,000 people. That can get really expensive. And if you don't have a big enough budget to send them enough to figure it out, then you might as well have taken that money on vacation with you. Because that's about as good as, you know, that's a much better option than just flushing money down the toilet. So. All right, guys. Well, that gives me some good content, some good info for next week's call. Oh, there you go. Good job, Woody. Also, Woody and Allie, look at the website. There was a bunch of updates that were made last night. I don't know if you've seen them yet or not, but
Not yet, but I'm excited.
They're looking good. So take a look at that, and then we'll
yay.
We'll keep moving your ball forward.
Oh, yay. Goody. Happy 4th, everybody.
Yes, happy 4th, and everybody,
Hey.
we'll talk to you next week.
I'm down with coming to an undercover party, John. Illegal's good.
All right. Well, I will let you know.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Happy Fourth, everyone. Good luck. God bless America,
And all of us.
Right on.
Thanks, John.
enjoy.
Thank you,
you guys.
John.